brought this just in case.
I did too. Oh, the computer now. I sent Craig a message. I said, are we supposed to bring the computer? He said, no. Oh, well.
As soon as I didn't, we weren't supposed
Mayor,
to.
before you start, do you want to see if we can make sure she?
Yeah, I will. Just, I'm gonna wait till we get to the time, then I'll make sure she's good and we'll open the meeting.
All right, here's our agenda. We got some stuff to approve. 45.
Okay, Miriam's on her way.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'll wait a few minutes, see if she shows up. Well, she's been working for about 6 every day.
Yeah. Thank you.
You were welcome.
So,
Mayor, just one other thing I should note, if, once the meeting starts and she unmutes those mics in front of you are what's feeding into the Zoom video.
Muted. Okay, cool.
Johnny, can you hear us?
Yes.
She said yes.
She said yes.
Okay.
She said yes.
You can hear her? Okay.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Copy for that.
We want to give just a couple minutes for Miriam?
Yeah, replace
He
them.
wants to,
Sure.
that's fine.
Okay.
For-
We'll give her a
for
couple minutes.
Executive session.
And then we'll get started. So Miriam's on the way, so we're gonna wait just a couple minutes, see if she gets here.
Yeah,
That's- Yeah, yeah.
there's two of them.
We have one for the
Elimination
CO that
tax
we
and limited
want to
pledge
decide
revenue.
before the
Executive
executive
session.
session.
Okay,
So that he
If you all
can,
approve the COs and then you all can go on about your business, the rest of the legal documents we can leave here. That's
okay,
the only thing I have to have tonight.
all right.
Okay.
The ordinances were in the budget book. 761. Ordinance 761. That's the one that's related. Hey, Mindy?
Yes.
Did we get ordinance 761?
No, that's pretty.
Oh, that one. Right here. That one. Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah, but we didn't get the, just this page.
All right.
It says ordinance number 760.
761.
This one says 760. Did we get one that looks like this?
It's in the budget.
It's in the book? I must not have got down that far. Okay, what page is it?
No, it's in here.
yeah, it's in the
They're all
book,
in here.
but she also put one in the packet as well.
The paper packet?
Yes.
I don't have that.
Here's 760.
Yeah.
And it's before-
It's page 21 and 23.
Yeah.
In the budget book.
there.
I looked right over. Well, 12 have 759 and 760. Where's 761? That's what I'm saying. Did we just get a simple
That's the one
page?
she was saying, is that rule.
The 760.
Right, it's the big thick thing, but do we just have a page like that for 761? Just the page?
No.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Oh, okay. Yes, no, sorry.
Okay, everybody ready?
Let's go.
I'll call the meeting to order, special meeting for Tuesday, August 18th, 2020. I still need to read this whole thing.
Yes, sir.
Some members of the city council may participate via telephone or video conference. A quorum may or may not be physically present in the city council chambers. Texas Government Code 551.127A-2. Citizens wishing to make comments should email mparks@evermantx.net, mparks@evermantx.net. Citizens' comments received prior to the meeting adjourned will be read to the council. We will open up the public hearing to hear citizens' comments on the proposed property tax rate and the public hearing to hear citizens' comments on the proposed 2020-2021 budget.
Hey, Mayor,
Yes,
real quick, can you read off that phone number the citizens can call just so we can make sure
okay.
they have it?
Any citizen want to make comments can call 817-203-3259.
3239.
3239.
817-203-3239.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so our public hearing is open.
Okay. So the first portion of the public hearing is to discuss the proposed tax rate. And this tax rate will raise more taxes for maintenance and operations than last year's tax rate. The tax rate will effectively be raised by 5.89% and will raise taxes for maintenance and operations on a $100,000 home by approximately $11. The proposed tax rate for the tax year 2020 is $1.149676 per 100, as compared to last year's tax rate of 1.085713 per 100. The no new revenue tax rate, which is formerly known as the effective tax rate, is 0.997229 per 100. The voter approval revenue tax rate, formerly known as the rollback tax rate, is 1.156532 per $100. And that is an increase, like I mentioned, of 5.89%, or an increase of 0.063963. And the levy for the 2020 taxes for the city of Everman on all properties, all tax levy, is $2,698,002. And that is an increase of 11.77%, or $284,324 over last year. Now, one additional comment I need to add, that this tax rate does include the principal and interest payment amount for FY21 for the certificates of obligation, which will be voted on later this evening. And all of the information on the proposed tax rate can be found both in our budget book online, as well as on the homepage, or was also available here at City Hall. And in the budget book, it's on page 25. And now we will open it up for public comment regarding the proposed tax rate.
Mr. Gunny, did you have something you wanted to?
No, it's not related to tax.
Okay,
On the budget portion.
Got no calls.
okay. Any emails? Okay, so I will close the public hearing and we'll drop down to consideration possible action. Item A, approve ordinance number 759, an ordinance fixing and levying municipal ad valorem taxes for the city of Edmond, Texas upon all taxable property for the tax year of 2020, directing the assessment and collection thereof, providing some variability clause and an effective date clause. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 759, the tax rate of 1.149676.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Yes, I'd like to know, has it always said for maintenance and operations?
Yes,
Yes.
that's called the M&O rate versus the INS rate, which is the principal and interest debt reserve. Property tax rate's always broken into two pieces. One is for the general operations and maintenance of the general fund. The other portion is to pay the long-term debt or to fund the debt service fund to pay the long-term debt of the city.
Any other questions? Would you poll the council?
Place 1, aye. Place 3,
Aye.
Place 4,
Aye.
place 5.
Aye.
Place 6.
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Item B, approve ordinance number 760, an ordinance adopting a budget and appropriating resources for the budget year beginning October 1st, 2020 and ending September 30th, 2021, approving budget figures for fiscal year 2021, providing for the filing of the budget as required by state law, providing that this ordinance shall be cumulative of all ordinances, providing severability clause, and providing an effective date.
We have to open the public hearing for this
Yeah.
first.
What's
Go back
that?
to
So we have
three.
to do the public hearing on this
Go
portion.
back to number 3. We have to do number
Oh, I thought we opened up the public hearing on both of them.
No, we have to discuss this.
one at a time.
Okay. All right, we'll go back up to number 3. Public hearing to hear citizens' comments on the proposed 2020-2021 budget. So we will open up.
The proposed budget and budget message were both available for public inspection here at the Everman City Hall through the city secretary, as well as our website, evermantx.us. This budget will raise more total property taxes than last year's budget by $284,324, or 11.77%. And of that amount, $5,696 is tax revenue to be raised from new property added to the tax roll this year. Now, the purpose of this public hearing is to receive public comment regarding the proposed budget. And while we wait to see if we get any further comment, I'm going to turn it over to the city manager to go over his city manager message.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, the Everman City budget for the fiscal year 2020-2021 is here in after submitted in accordance with state law and the city charter. This budget will commence on October 1st, 2020 and continue through September 30th, 2021. The proposed budget before you is balanced and based on a 1.149676 property tax rate. The projected ad valorem tax revenue, excluding collections of past due taxes, is $2,698,002, with $320,030 allocated to debt service and $2,377,972 allocated to the general fund. The projected increase in general fund 2020 ad valorem tax collections is $317,655 over projected 2019 collections. The INS portion of the ad valorem tax increased by $150,105 due to the issuance of certificate of obligation. The city's cash position projected for the fiscal year 2020 is $2,101,600. This 2021 budget, as presented, will reduce that cash position to about $2,049,000. The general fund and the water fund cash positions are budgeted to increase. But street rebuilds and the street improvement fund and the 2013 bond fund will exceed the revenues budgeted for those funds. Additionally, the Economic Development Fund is budgeting $88,000 more in expenditures and revenues. The current budget performance and budget comparisons this year has been a challenge, but I believe we've come through it in great fashion. Many changes occurred. We welcome Susan Helgeson as our new finance director. We merged EMS and the fire departments, made organizational changes and certification requirement changes to make the new fire department a more efficient emergency responder. And we entered a fleet lease relationship with Enterprise. All of these improvements were made in the midst of a pandemic, and yet we are on target to meet our 2020 budget goals. The goal was to improve general fund and water fund equity positions. 2021 primary goal is once again to increase the equity positions in the general fund and the water fund. The budget I am submitting adds $111,903 to the general fund equity and $85,733 to the water fund equity. This budget is conservative and there is room for us to improve and once again come in under budget. The 2021 budget includes a merit increase of 5% for all employees. Additionally, the health insurance is projected at a 5% increase, but we will not know the actual rate until October or November. The 2021 capital expenditure budget includes $60,000 continuation of street projects and $75,000 in EDC funding of a Veterans Memorial, $158,000 in street improvements from the street fund, and $25,000 in park improvements. Additionally, there are plans to renovate the fire hall, rebuild the annex, and drill a new water well. We're in the process of issuing $3.8 million in certificates of obligation to fund those projects. When these projects are engineered and specs are available, budget amendments will be required to reflect the expenditures related to it. The ad valorem tax was calculated to include the principal and interest payments for the 2021 on the CO.
Have we had any public comment?
No comments.
Okay, anything for you? Any emails? Okay. All right, so we will close the public hearing on that. Drop down to item B, approve ordinance number 760, an ordinance adopting a budget and appropriating resources for the budget year beginning October 1st, 2020 and ending September 30th, 2021, approving budget figures for fiscal year 2021, providing for the filing of the budget as required by state law, providing that this ordinance shall be cumulative, all ordinances, providing a severability clause, and providing an effective date. Now I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve ordinance number 760 as read.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
Yes, I have one question on what he had just mentioned. He said 25,000 for parks.
Yes. That's correct.
And what is that for?
That is to cover the 2 new lawn mowers for the Parks Department.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Poll the council.
Place 1?
Aye.
Place 3?
Aye.
Place 4?
Aye.
Place 5?
Aye.
Place 6?
Aye.
Mayor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next item, approve resolution number 2020-08-01, a resolution to adopt the official city seal.
Councilwoman Allen, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. I don't have a mic, but I guess I'm that loud. A couple months ago, we started talking about potentially developing a new city seal as we were developing a new patch with the police department. We came up with a design that included a train, a plane, and a cow. But following my fancy design, I received some input from other city employees that I am not an artist, and that was a very boring design. So we've commissioned a friend of the fire department who has done some artwork for us before, and she was able to draw up something that incorporated it, all 3 of those items, as well as a creek to reflect Chambers Creek. And we wanted the seal to be reflective of our history and our past, and really provide an identity for the city as a whole. This is what she was able to come up with, and we were pleased with it and wanted to present it to you as council for your consideration to adopt as our official seal. Our current seal is very similar. However, there's no picture in the image, and it's just the word seal. That's it. So we'd like to create a little better identity that reflects a little bit more about our history here in Everett and who we are.
Now we're gonna get a large one made and put here in City Hall too?
Not possible.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve resolution number 2020-08-01, a resolution to adopt the official city seal.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to say the seal looks very nice. My question is there gonna be a cost for making the change?
Ma'am, no cost. We're able to handle all of that internally. So when it comes to letterhead and those sorts of things, technology has allowed us to make those changes ourselves without having to change anything. We're not gonna change the logos on the truck. That's still gonna be our logo. This is just gonna be an official city seal. The only cost associated would be maybe some new stamps, which that cost is minimal and well within our budget to afford.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? Poll council.
Place 1.
Aye.
Place 3.
Aye.
Place 4.
Aye.
Place 5.
Aye.
Place 6.
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Item D, consideration and approval of an ordinance number 761 authorizing the issuance of City of Everman, Texas combination tax and limited pledge revenue certificates of obligation, Series 2020, and other matters incident and related thereto. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 761 as read.
Motion made and seconded.
I would like for Andrew to, since he came all the way out here, to present it to you.
That's fine. I was just trying to get our motions out of the way, so come on up.
Very good. I'll try to keep this brief for you all. Andrew Friedman with Samco Capital Markets. It's a pleasure to be out in front of you in person. Since just seems like a few months ago, we were here with the Water Development Board financing that we took out with the results of this $3.8 million certificate of obligation that we went to the competitive bid market with today, received bids at 11 a.m. We received 2 bids, the best bid being from R.W. Baird at a TIC, which means the average interest rate, the true interest cost of 1.99%. And then Raymond James here in Dallas with a rate of 2.008%. So one, wish there had been more bidders. The pandemic has certainly caused a increase in bond prices, which drives the yield down substantially. We've seen interest rates drop like a rock over the last several months. Made it a little bit tougher. People aren't getting the yield that they'd like on their investments. And as we went through the rating process, we were downgraded, which was a long time coming based on the last several years of financial performance. We were downgraded to BBB+, still an investment grade credit, but certainly room for improvement with the city. We started taking those steps. Mr. Gunderson started taking those steps several years ago. Y'all have already implemented a lot of the plan that's going to see a rating increase go up over the next couple of years. Part of the problem is a structural imbalance at the city. The general fund funding utility system problems, I&I issues that have happened over the last several years that have left our cash positions short of what Standard & Poor's would like to see. So with that Water Development Board financing you completed earlier in the year, a lot of those problems are going to be addressed. We're not going to be funneling money to support our utility system. It's going to start paying for itself and stop costing money, allowing us to build up our reserves. So I expect that rating to change for the better over the next 2 years. Of course, COVID hasn't helped anything. The rating agencies have now taken a keen look at every city and said everybody looks materially weaker, whether you're actually doing better than you were, you're relatively unaffected, because we certainly have a few cities that are doing pretty well throughout the pandemic. So a tough market to price into, kind of a tough time to be going to the credit rating agencies. But as you can see, interest rates are just incredibly low. City of Saginaw is selling tonight 20-year, $20 million debt. Their average interest rate's 2.11%, and they're a AA credit. So interest rates are very, very low. I don't want you to be discouraged by your credit rating and the downgrade that's happened. because a lot of those steps and those improvements have been made. It just takes time to realize. So as you all continue stewarding the city over the next couple of years or next several years, I just encourage you to be very mindful of some of the things that Standard & Poor's has outlined in creating a structural balance where the general fund and your taxes pay for the services that your taxes are meant to pay for, and that your utility system and rate structure is set up to pay for those improvements. So keep your eye on that. Then your credit rating is going to improve and the city is going to be in a greater financial position moving forward. So all of that being said, we're able to price $3.8 billion of certificates of obligation. The second page that I handed here is a tax rate impact analysis. This looks at what your property tax values are, including the certified values we've recently gotten, and structuring, this is the general fund portion of the debt, 2.2 million of the 3.8 million, against the debt you already have outstanding to determine what tax rate will be required. Now, the tax rate that I'm showing for fiscal year 2021 isn't exact with what you've budgeted. There's certain things that go into your property tax rate calculation that this doesn't take into consideration, but that Ms. Helgeson and Mr. Gunderson have. And so we have a great deal of confidence about the tax rate that you're setting. And you can see we're going to be amortizing this over 20 years at that 1.99%. And you can see the corresponding tax rate that you're adopting here this evening. Behind that are the final numbers. I'm not going to go through these in every detail, but I'm certainly happy to if you have questions. But the first page, there's 4 columns listing the sources and uses, and then we break out this bond issue internally by the general fund portion that's supported by your INS taxes, and then the utility fund portion that's going to be supported by your water and sewer revenues, so that we can differentiate what the INS portion of your tax rate is going to support versus what your utility systems will support.
Excuse me,
Yes,
could you tell me what page you're on, please?
It's not in, it's something in
Do you have a
Andrews.
copy of that?
Johnny, you don't have it. It's something that was passed out here at the meeting. We'll
Okay.
get it to you.
Apologize for that. The general fund is going to receive at closing, if you pass this resolution this evening, $2.2 million on September 15th. The utility fund would receive $1.6 million to fund the projects that you all have already, that you've authorized in that notice of intention resolution, and you'd be funding at that time. The certificates of obligation, like the ones we just sold to the water board, will be a fixed rate over the course of 20 years. They'll be callable from the investor after 10 years. Throughout these numbers, you can see the debt service schedule, which outlines the annual principal payments the city will make. And then we further break that out for the city's internal budgeting uses by the general fund portion of that debt service and the utility fund portion of that debt service. And then these bonds will finally go away February 1st of 2040.
So far in the future.
With that being said, I'm happy to go into more detail into these numbers, any questions that you have, but that is my presentation for you this evening.
Does anybody have anything? I guess we're good. So thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so any other discussion on that item?
Is this on the item that's 50 pages?
Yes,
Do what?
yes.
Is this on the item that's 50 pages?
I gave her a copy of the ordinance.
That-
Yes.
Okay.
Johnny, that is the ordinance that we will pass. The handout that Andrew handed out to council was just a summary of the key points that he covered. What's in that ordinance is everything in detail regarding this issuance of certificate of obligation.
And I will get you copies of this document this evening.
Any other discussion?
No.
Poll the council.
Place 1.
Aye.
Place 3.
No.
Place 4.
Aye.
Place 5?
Aye.
Place 6?
Aye.
Mayor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next item, item E, approval.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just get those two quick signatures.
Okay.
And let the winning bidder know that the bonds have been approved.
All right. Okay.
Right there where it says mayor. And there's a second copy of it.
Excuse me, were we not on item D?
I'm just saying, yeah, we just passed item D.
Okay, this is the thick packet, correct?
That's the ordinance.
The
Talking
ordinance.
about the ordinance 760.
The ordinance, that's the ordinance, Johnny. It's what Mr. Gunderson was just telling you.
Yes. that's-
Okay, this is what I was just asking about. I have a question regarding that.
Go ahead. I mean, we've already voted on it, but let's go ahead and ask your question.
Well, okay, no problem, no problem.
So are you gonna ask your question?
Well, I just asked a minute ago if they were discussing this ordinance, and they said no, that wasn't what we were discussing.
No, what I said was, that is the ordinance, and what was handed out to council was a summary for Andrew's presentation of that ordinance. Obviously, he's not gonna stand there and read 50 pages of it.
Well, I didn't ask him to stand there and read 50 pages. I had a comment regarding if this was what we were referring to.
Then the answer is yes.
Okay, on the first page, it mentions City Hall and Fire Station, but in the previous discussions, it was regarding the annex and the fire station.
And City Hall, right?
And City Hall.
Okay, no problem.
All right, let's drop down to item E, approval of previous discussed projects under the certificate of obligation. I'll entertain a motion.
That's a little loosey-goosey, isn't it?
This is a good place for us to discuss, again, the items that are gonna be paid for by the certificate of obligation, because obviously we need to approve those projects.
Okay,
To approve the funding.
okay, I'm just saying it's a little like previously discussed projects is a little loosey, but I understand what you're saying.
A little bit.
Okay, so, what am I saying? I move we approve,
Can I make a recommendation?
please.
I would suggest a motion to approve the water improvement portion.
And
I'd
facility,
like that to include the water well and the
and the
and the water
facility,
tanks.
and facility
And then
improvement.
a facility improvement project, which
And
would
then
include
the city annex and City
Which
Hall.
includes an annex, the annex of City Hall and a fire station.
Okay, I like that
Those are the
better.
two big projects.
I like that better. All right, help me out here. I make a motion that we approve the City Hall changes,
Water improvement,
water improvement, the
facility improvement.
facility improvement, the city
and
annex,
City Hall.
and the City Hall projects as previously discussed.
And fire station.
And fire station. Okay.
That would be the facility improvement.
Oh, well, see, that's even loosey-goosey. I like fire station better.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, motion made and seconded.
That's better.
Now, any discussion?
I
You
don't-
want to recap, one of you, the projects, just to make sure we're,
Pretty much, we're talking about two separate projects here. We're talking about the water improvement project, which will include a new water well, which will not only provide improved service already existing, but it's going to be necessary for the development that is potentially coming to our city in the near future, as well as the replacement of the two 100,000 gallon water tanks that are currently sitting behind the police department. Those will be replaced with one 200,000 gallon water tank. And then the 100,000 gallon water tank at the high school well lot will be replaced with another 100,000 gallon water tank. The
Okay.
second part of this project is the facility improvement project, which will consist of City Hall renovations. City Hall annex renovations, which is a part of City Hall. And the plan there is really to simply mow down the current structure and rebuild it from the ground up to an adequate size that will house approximately 300 people. With state-of-the-art technology and office and breakout rooms included inside, as well as an industrial kitchen, that sort of thing. As well as the fire station, which will be a remodel, not a rebuild, but a remodel of the fire station. The proposed plan there is to redo all the electrical inside and tear down the current interior structure that's there now and rebuild it with an additional 20 feet, 15 feet added on to what's currently there, which will provide more adequate office space, living quarters, separated living quarters, kitchen and storage in the fire station.
And it'll take care of some damage issues on the exterior of the
Yes,
building.
yes, damage issues, yeah, and as we get into the design and build phase, we're gonna get more in depth on approved plans and so forth. After this, we'll have to go through an RFP and RFQ process, and we'll get into the real nitty gritty stuff. All that will come again before council for your approval as we get into the fine details of everything. But those are those are the locations of the general projects that we're looking at.
And that was those pictures that you showed us.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
For the annex to be enlarged that much, where's the parking gonna be?
We're gonna have to figure that out when we get to the design phase, but Brian, who's one of the gentlemen we met with, who's come out here and taken a look at both facilities, says that we can very easily make enough room for that to happen. So he's looked at both sites and doesn't really have any concerns. He's actually pretty excited about the opportunity. So I think we can make it
Can't
happen.
wait to see that.
Really?
We can do both.
Any other discussion? Just poll the council.
Place 1,
Aye.
place 3,
No.
place 4,
Aye.
place 5.
Aye.
Place 6.
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Next item, executive session pursuant to section 551.071, chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Council reserves the right to convene in executive sessions from time to time as deemed necessary during this meeting to receive advice from its attorney on any posted agenda item as permitted by law. Additionally, council may convene into executive session to discuss the following: pending and contemplated litigation or to seek the advice of the city attorney pursuant to section 551.071, discussion regarding possible purchase, sale, exchange, lease, or real value of real property pursuant to section 551.072, personnel matters for section 551.074. Item 1, city manager. Item 2, assistant city manager. So we will convene into Mindy's office. Johnny, if you'll mute yourself, we'll call you on the cell phone.
Thank you.
No, accept. What are we gonna say? Accept. Kelly's here. Accept.
Stone's sister Kelly and her husband were hospitalized in Montana battling COVID-19. Her sister and her husband are fighting for their lives. After she posted this heartfelt message on social media, I reached out to Sharon on email. She wrote back last night.
Yes, I'm on.
Okay.
See.
All right, we're coming out of executive session. Consideration possible action regarding executive session. I'll entertain our first motion.
I move that we accept the resignation of City Manager Michael Gunderson as presented.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Will the council?
Place 1,
Aye.
place 2,
Aye.
place 3,
Aye.
place 4,
Aye.
place 5,
Aye.
place 6. Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Yes.
Now I'll entertain a second motion from executive session.
I move that we approve appointing Craig Spencer as City Manager and Chief of Police with a salary increase of $43,000.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Would you poll the council?
Place 1,
No.
place 2,
Aye.
Oh, sorry.
place 3,
Aye.
place 4,
Aye.
place 5,
Aye.
place 6.
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Okay, next item, citizens' comments.
Yeah.
Nothing, we good? Okay, that being said, we are adjourned. Oh,
Thanks, Johnny.
hold on, we still got swearing Craig.
Just kidding.
Oh, that,
Meeting is not adjourned.
unadjourned there. Can you ungavel?
I know it's forgetting something.
Hang on, she's not ready. She's not ready. Okay.
Wherever you want to get. What's good for you, Charles? Okay, raise your right hand. I, Craig Spencer,
I, Craig Spencer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of the city manager of the city of Everman,
of the office of city manager of the city of Everman,
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States.
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States.
And so help you guys.
So help me God.
We'll get there. Okay.
Allison, did you get enough pictures?
I did.
Okay, good.
Recorded.
Okay, with that being said, we are now adjourned.
Bam.
All right, Johnny, thank you.
Yes.
Good